In the wake of recent mass shootings over the last few months that have been devastating and have prompted a very necessary discussion around gun control, we have been following a lot of these anti-gun control conservatives who twist their brains into pretzels to try to get around answering for why we shouldn't have gun control. And instead, it's this mad dash to come up with any other thing that could be contributing to mass shootings. And that's what we should look at, not gun control. And so we've had some wild examples of people really making no sense in their attempt to obfuscate from addressing the most obvious solution to gun violence, which is gun control. Even though, as I've said many times, I do think investing in mental health is important and necessary. I do think looking into how we can foster healthy family environments where children are loved, of course, all of that's important. But the most pressing and obvious and effective measure we could take at this moment would be restrict people's ability who may have these aspirations to do harm from getting a weapon that is designed to kill as many people as possible. Well, another example of this is Marjorie Taylor Greene appeared on OAN, which OAN is like Fox News on steroids, super far right. And the host was actually making all the points. She, of course, agreed with it. But you'll see this host tries to make it about pharmaceutical drugs. That's what's causing the mass shootings and what we should look at. Of course, we covered a story yesterday about a Fox News correspondent saying that we should look into having exorcists look at these people because maybe exorcisms are the way we solve this problem of mass shootings. So it's the pills is what this guy has to say about it, and Marjorie Taylor Greene is nodding right along.
Okay, why don't they ever talk about going after big pharma? Oh, that's right, because so many of folks in the body where you work, but we know you're not, Marjorie, because we see your donations, because too many damn politicians are in the back pocket of big pharma. That's a lot more money than the gun lobby, let me tell you, right?
Absolutely. Big pharma controls everything from the fact that many people were forced to take COVID vaccines, lost their jobs for it. National Guardsmen were kicked out. Military members were kicked out. You name it. Doctors,
it's bigger than oil. It's bigger than auto. It's bigger than gun.
That's
it's
right.
The biggest lobby in D.C. It's disgusting. It's killing people,
That's right.
whether by the pill itself or by...
I do love when hosts can't even let the person that they're interviewing talk. In this case, I don't mind because interrupt Marjorie Taylor Greene. Don't really care. But he was so eager to make this point.
And messing up their brain
Let's get
to
back
go
to that
DC. It's disgusting. It's killing people,
That's right.
whether by the pill itself or by messing up their brain to go shoot people. It's the damn pills. Anyway, I'm going to get myself in trouble on that one.
So is there a real problem with big pharma contributing big dollars to politicians' campaigns and thus them serving the interests of big pharma as well as all the other people he listed, big oil and all these things? Of course that's an issue. Of course we should make sure that our politicians are serving us, the everyday voter, and not just the person who can give the biggest contributions to their super PACs. Fair enough. What that has to do with mass shootings, I have no clue. The claim that they try to make is that antidepressants are causing people to become even more irrational and even more emotionally unstable, and that's why they're committing mass shootings. No evidence to that effect. Obviously, studies have been done and the causation piece of it is not there. We are not seeing this issue of both weed, which they like to say, or pharmaceutical drugs causing people to become at such a massive scale more violent that that's the reason the United States stands out so much in the amount of gun violence that we have. Obviously, as we've discussed, many other countries deal with many of the issues that we deal with that they try to point to. They have people on antidepressants. They have people smoking weed. They play violent video games, but yet they are a tiny fraction in gun deaths, gun homicides, all of that. Well, where do we stand apart then as far as the different variables that we're looking at? It is in the low level of restrictions and low level of common sense regulations that we have in this country. The countries that do that more effectively and do it better, they do see lower gun violence. It's as clear as day. And so it's fascinating watching all of these different right-wing hosts, all of the different right-wing politicians do everything they possibly can to distract from that fact by bringing up every possible, even barely connected topic that could be playing some tiny little role in people being more violent that isn't even proven to be, to make sure that we don't talk about the most obvious for all of this. Of course, we went over the story yesterday of Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, is it just a coincidence that this happened at an event where conservatives would be at? Maybe this is an effort to convince conservatives to do gun control. Okay, so now she's going as far as try to distract people by pretending like maybe this is all a plot by the Democrats creating mass shootings to make people want to do gun control. It's wild. I don't know how you can look in the face of all of these mass shootings and then the mountains of evidence that show the way that we could limit some of our gun violence in the United States is by better regulating the weapons that are designed to do so much harm, and look at all of that and be like, nah, I want to spend the next multiple years of my political career trying to distract people from recognizing that evidence and using that evidence to make the obvious conclusion that we should make some change in the way that we regulate guns in America. Really sad.